This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, here
Hey,
on September 30th, 2021. Yes, and I got 3 interviews today, and we got our first one due up right now. Yes. Folks, we have Mr. James Ellsworth, the wrestler himself. How do you do, James?
I'm good. How are you up there in Canada? Is that how you say it?
That's right.
Yeah, man. I love coming to Canada for wrestling shows. Anytime we had WWE up there, or I've been up there for independent shows as well. The fans are just amazing up there. I love going there to perform.
Yeah. Well, I'm wearing my Princess Victoria shirt today. Did you ever see her wrestle?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I'm very familiar.
I tried to get Velvet McIntyre on the show and discovered through the Facebook page that she has issues with her ears. So I couldn't do an interview, but she responded to me because they were both tag team women's champions. And I didn't know who she was. So I kind of clicked on YouTube, and because I always loved Velvet. At first Survivor Series, I never seen anybody, and since then only Ricky the Dragon Steamboat I've seen do it since. He had a flying cross body spinning around as he did it.
Yeah, man. That's some amazing stuff. I couldn't pull it off. I'd probably tear something if I tried, but to each its own.
Yeah. So I watched some Princess Victoria and had her on here twice, and lovely lady. So I ordered this from her and got her book as well. So anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but nonetheless.
It's all good. It's early in the morning. We don't know what we're doing yet.
Actually, I work as a cleaner. I'm an essential worker. So I was filling in for people last night and putting in some late nights due to people just not doing their jobs.
Jeez, that's always fun. Have to clean up someone else's slack. Pick up someone else's slack.
Yeah. But nonetheless, another reason I got in contact with you is because you were a guest on Scotty McCoy's podcast, and Scotty's been a guest on here 5 times. And Scotty told me what a wonderful guest, and he was one of the people that recommended you for the Doubtfire challenge. So
well, thank you, Scotty. I got pie in my face because of you.
Scotty spoke very highly of you, and yeah, he's been on here a number of times. But nonetheless, I want to express again my appreciation to yourself, and Tori Wilson was another one that just did this, didn't ask questions. She totally got it. Unlike a couple of other divas that didn't get it, to remain nameless on here, but they will never see me at a WrestleCon getting their autograph, that's for sure. But you and Tori and Ariel, Teal, Piper, awesome.
Yeah, no problem, man.
You guys all took the challenge, and I appreciate all 3 of you. I'm still in touch with Ariel. Tori, I've never had on here. Those channels just haven't worked, but I'd love to get her on here just to express my appreciation for her, because I thought that was cool. After the ice bucket challenge was a big thing, it was like, I don't know. I didn't think about trending, I just thought everybody was coming together to do something great, because my dad's got ALS and he's had it for 7 years. So I totally get it. And I thought after Robin Williams passed away, it's like depression, And I always loved the whole pie in the face thing when I was young. I still loved the Nickelodeon humor and stuff. So it was Scotty McCoy that actually suggested I throw it out to wrestlers.
Wow, that's a smart idea. And
yeah.
And everyone's, I think, loves Nickelodeon humor. My whole career was Nickelodeon humor. So.
Well, Tori Wilson, when she got back and she did it, I was like, thank you, Tori, But I've had, actually, I'll just throw the names out. Rosa Mendes and was it Shelly Martinez totally didn't get it, But but then it was your turn. So I thought, well, you got a sense of, and you did it. So thank you once again. I wish there was a way due to characters, because you could only have so much characters on Cameo, but I was like, because I wanted to see if I get you to nominate 3 people, but I just didn't have
Oh
the
yeah.
characters. Because I would
Which
have
3 people?
got you to pay back some of those divas that kicked. I mean, that you contended against.
Well, I'm trying to think in my head who's on Cameo, and I would nominate the Sandman. That'd be a funny one, right? I don't know if he'd do it or not. I'm not sure. I just love that guy. Mojo Riley, he'd be funny. Believe it or not, he would be hilarious with it. And who else is on Cameo that would do that? Maybe Matt Hardy. I mean, he might be a little, I don't know what his cost is on Cameo. He might be a little more on the expensive side because he's popular, but that might be a good one. So there's my 3. Matt Hardy, the Sandman, and Mojo Riley.
Yeah, there you go. You wouldn't go after one of the divas that kicked your butt?
I don't know if a lot of them are on Cameo.
Maybe, you know what? A lot of them are, but I don't get a WWE. Now they're taking over their Cameos and this and that.
Oh, I get it. I can explain it to you. It'll take a second, but I get it.
Go ahead, please.
So I know a lot of people. The internet's a stupid place for stuff like this. Like, they like to rag on WWE, and anything that's popular gets ragged on. Like, for instance, Tom Brady in the NFL, he's the greatest quarterback of all time, but he gets ragged on so much. He gets called a cheater. He gets, but the guy's the greatest quarterback of all time, and he gets ragged on all the time because he's so popular. So anyway, with the WWE stuff, going back to what I was talking about here with the Cameos and the Twitches, and that's what you're touching on. Like, so when you're on WWE television, it is a very powerful thing, meaning to this day, I haven't been on television in 3 years, and 3 years isn't that long of a time. People still remember you. But to this day, if I go to Target, Walmart, the Orioles game, a bathroom, and a gas station, someone recognizes me because that television is so powerful. Now, if they're giving you your name, because you're making your name off of them, you're on their television that they're providing. They're the ones paying for television on Fox. They're the ones, USA. They pay for those times. Now, I know they get a money deal and all that, but for sponsorships, but it's not a cheap thing. So when you're on their television and you're making a name for yourself, if you could take that name and you can make money elsewhere with it, it's not like fair to WWE. They're the ones providing you with their name. So if you take a name and you're making, a Cameo, Twitch, this and that, and like they're not getting a cut of it, but they're like basically, well, here's your name and now you can use it for, like, they should get a cut of that. Number one, they're paying you so much already. WWE, you make very good money. I made a very good living there, and I saved it all, and I'm as long as I'm smart, I'm pretty set up. So, like, they're going, hey guys, if you're going to do that Cameo thing, especially if you're using names that we use, like for instance, like Sasha Banks, WWE uses that name. That's not her real name. I'm just using her as an example. Her
real name is
Mercedes.
Big James Ellsworth fan.
Who? Oh yeah.
Is that her real name, Big James Ellsworth fan?
I think so. What it comes down to is, like, it's their property because you're on their television and you're living off of the name they gave you. And obviously, when you get released from WWE, like I'm released right now, I get to do Cameo and I can do Twitch if I want, and I can do whatever and use the name that, because I'm not under contract anymore. But you're under contract with them. They're paying you very nice. You're traveling the world on their dime. And they're giving you that TV time that's making you popular. So, I get it, man. That all this stuff costs a lot of money. So if they want a percentage of your Twitch or a percentage of your Cameo, I understand 100%. It's a business, and you're making a great living. You have nothing to cry about if you're on the main roster at WWE. You're making a better living than 90% of the people in the country. So that's just my humbled opinion.
You know what? I never thought of it that way, but you're 100% right. But I did. I took Scotty's advice, and he was throwing names out to go after, and this and that. And some people are highly expensive, like Ric Flair is expensive on Cameo, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going there. I almost went there once, and it was for Alexa Bliss when she was on there as
She's very popular.
Alexa Kaufman.
Lexi
Uh,
Kaufman.
yeah, the reason I threw it out to her is because I've seen online where she talked about suicide and depression,
Hmm.
and I was like, man, she at least she sent a message back to me about it, so I didn't lose my money. I was lucky there because she, due to the pandemic, she couldn't get a pie. So, but
It's
I
way
wasn't
hard.
so lucky on another account because I was suggested to go after Charlotte Flair, and she actually video responded, but she couldn't get a pie, and I was like, oh my goodness, I lost that money. But I let Charlotte off the hook because she probably didn't know how to respond, you know. So,
Hmm.
and I love Charlotte Flair, I
Oh,
think
she's
she's,
awesome. Yeah.
yeah, I love Charlotte, but I started going after some of the ones that weren't so pricey, so I wouldn't do myself in because, like I said, I work as a cleaner, and cleaners aren't paid high enough, in my opinion.
Oh no, you guys are very important. That stuff needs to be clean, or we'll get sick. For like
Yeah.
the cameos, I keep my price low because I like doing them. So I'd rather do $20 and do 10 a day than do $80 and do like one a day. Like I like doing them. They're fun to me.
Hmm.
It's so hilarious what people ask you to do. Sometimes I never turn any of them down. I'm sure I will one day. Somebody's gonna ask something real rude, and I'm like, I ain't doing that. Or I'll turn it around and like, you want me to do this, but you know what I'm gonna do. But it's a lot of fun to me. I love wrestling fans that are respectful. I like respectful people, not just wrestling fans. People that are nice. I'm very big fan of people that are nice. So if
Yeah.
people are hitting me up asking me, to say this, and they're being very kind, I don't mind it at all, man. That's why I keep my obviously we got to make a living, but that's why I keep my price so low because I'd rather do 10 a day than one a day for
Hmm.
sure.
Well, once again, thank you for doing the Doubtfire Face Challenge. It's appreciated. It wasn't a joke or a knock on you. Scotty put it in my mind, and I didn't go after a lot of males because I don't know how many I'm going by the personality being displayed on the screen, of course, but it's like, yeah, you, for the storylines you went along with, I'm like, you sound like you get a good sense of humor, and
Oh
somebody,
yeah,
yeah,
I can get away with anything.
yeah,
So my character.
yeah. And I'm still connected with Ariel Piper, so I knew she would do it, and she was awesome. And Tori Wilson, I still owe that thank you to her because man, I appreciated her just doing it, no question. But yeah, how have you been doing during the pandemic? How have you been keeping yourself up?
Man, so I really to an extent I ignored it, meaning I just continued to live my life. When the pandemic first happened, a lot of the states shut down, and I was like, man, I love to perform still. I wrestle in the independents, and I'm like, who's open? Like, what states are open? So I went to Tennessee a lot and wrestled because
Hmm.
they never shut down. I went to Florida and wrestled. I went to Georgia and wrestled. I went like just any state that was open. I was going. I was making deals with promoters, and I was going to wrestle because I'm not a person that likes to sit here and collect, unemployment money. Like I don't want to do that.
No.
So I want to go work and live my life and have fun. And like, so yeah, man, I made the best of it. Like obviously I have two daughters and they had to stay home and do school on the computers. That was very challenging for them and me, but we got through it. They're back at school now, in the regular building doing, school the way it's supposed to be done.
Hmm.
And yeah, dude, I'm just being 100% honest to you. I did not at all let it bother me. It's very sad that we're going through this. It sucks that people are dying. I got vaccinated and everything. I'm paying attention. I'm following the rules. but I'm continuing to live my life. You get one life, man. 100 years or less. I will always tell people, not really that much time, so you got to enjoy it, and that's what I've been doing the whole time through the pandemic.
Which one of the divas or slash divas gave you the vaccination?
Yeah, well, I don't know. In the one of the Baltimore hospitals here was a lovely young lady who was on my TikTok. I don't even go on TikTok much, but I put the video up of me getting vaccinated on my TikTok. So,
oh, did you?
Yeah.
Did you cry? Did you have to look away?
No, none of that bothers me. I got a high tolerance for.
You know what? It's funny. My supervisor was wiped out for 2 or 3 days, and I still went to work. Actually, I had to get a new car the day I got my second vaccine because my old one stalled on a busy highway. So yeah, that wasn't fun. So I didn't have time to be bothered, but all I had was a sore arm. But I ribbed my supervisor a lot with leaving phone messages saying, "Why aren't you at work?"
Yeah, the vaccine didn't bother me. Like, I got the Pfizer one, the only one that
Same here.
That's the only one the FDA has approved so far. And I'm glad I got it. And I got it back in April, the first shot, May, the second shot, and didn't get sick at all. Didn't feel anything. It was fine. I'll get my booster in January, I believe. And yeah, I'm not a big anti-vaxxer either, or I'm not against people that don't want it. I just got it because I travel, and if it's going to help not get sick, then so be it. Luckily, knock on wood, the whole pandemic, I haven't been sick. I've felt great. And I've been one of the lucky ones. So I don't like wearing those masks, man. Like, I hate wearing that. I'll wear them when they are required. I just personally they annoy me, but I will wear them when required. And I just don't let it bother me, man. I keep pushing, keep moving on.
Yeah. Well, I noticed your shirt says Fozzy. Now, either you're a huge Fozzy Bear fan or you're a huge Chris Jericho fan. Which one is it?
Well, Chris is a good friend of mine. He's when I got to WWE, he really pushed hard for me and really was like one of the guys that was in my corner. We've always kept in touch. Fozzy was just in Baltimore about 2 weeks ago, and I went out and saw Chris and hung out with him a little bit after the show and got this free cool Fozzy t-shirt. But yeah, he's just one of the guys I've stayed in touch with since WWE, who I owe a lot to, because he really, really helped me out a lot when I was there. So I appreciate him a lot. And I'll always support him in any way I possibly can, which is getting a t-shirt and wearing it on this podcast, I guess.
Well, you know what? I went to a Comic-Con back in 2019, early on, and I'll tell you, when you get to one of those, we're around the vendors, I'm going to tell you, you find some stuff. I came back, I had about a dozen of those old LGN wrestling figures, and I got a bunch more at a flea market. Remember those? Oh boy, I love those. You could throw those down a flight of stairs and not break them. It just, I got a bunch of them. I wish they would re-release those, and do them again. I know, because they're not articulate, but I gotta say, those were great. I went there Comic-Con, but the first thing that caught my eye was, it's an Outback Jack figure.
Wow, Outback Jack. That's a hidden gem.
Yep. And I remember when I got into a fan of wrestling was it was just before WrestleMania 3, which in my opinion, I still consider the greatest WrestleMania, was WrestleMania 3. But I remember they had stickers in the hostess chip bags. There was about 20 different ones. And one day somebody sitting near me had a sticker of Jake the Snake Roberts. And I love snakes. And so I saw this, and I asked questions about it. And when you got telling me about Jake putting the snake on his opponents, I was like, oh, I want to see that. So I went over to my uncle and my cousin's place, and they were big wrestling fans. So I sat down one night, and of course these stickers had so many weird looking characters on there. Like some of the, like when you see these stickers and you got people like George the Animal Steel, Kamala, the Honky Tonk Man, I'm like, what is this? You know? And there are all these odd looking characters, and I got all the stickers, but I went there one night because I wanted to see Jake wrestle. But the night I first first watched, it was pre-WrestleMania 3. And I didn't see Jake on the card, but I did see a 6-man tag elimination match that has always stuck with me. And the heels came out. The heels, of course, were the adorable Adrian Adonis come out there with Jimmy Hart. You had King Harley Race come out there with Bobby Heenan. And then you had Randy Macho Man Savage, who was on one of the stickers, come out there with the gorgeous Elizabeth. They were the heel team. And then the good guys were announced. And the good guys were the Junkyard Dog coming out there jiving, you know, and hanging off the apron with that chain. And then you had Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And then their partner, who was retiring for the first time after WrestleMania 3, Rowdy Roddy Piper. And Piper won the elimination match after dispatching Randy Savage. And it made me a fan of Roddy Piper right away. Like I said, I've had Colton Ariel on here, and I told them about this match. I don't think they had seen it either, but I was hooked after that, you know, and been watching. I've been watching ever since. So, what were your first memories of wrestling?
Well, man, yeah. So in the late 80s, I remember two wrestlers vividly, like my first memories of wrestling. So I watched WWF and NWA, and the first two wrestlers I can remember were the Ultimate Warrior and Ricky Morton. And Ricky Morton was part of the Rock and Roll Express and NWA, but just Ricky. So like they were both, I noticed them both obviously for different reasons because they're obviously different looking people. The Ultimate Warrior to me, when I was a kid, like I said, I was probably 4 years old when I first like saw wrestling, and I saw the Ultimate Warrior, and this is probably 88 or 89, 1988 or 89. I was like, wow, like he looked just like a comic book hero come to life, like a superhero. And I just like loved him. And then on the other channel, TBS there for Crockett for NWA, I see Ricky Morton. He has, you know, long, like blonde mullet. And, you know, he looked like your cool uncle. You know what I mean? Like, he looked like he'd be related to you, but he was the cool uncle, the uncle with the long hair. And like, come here, son, here. I'm going to sneak you this piece of candy. You know what I mean? Like, just like a cool uncle that would, you know, he would break your parents' rules and be the cool. That's what he reminded me of. So those are the two first wrestlers I remember seeing. This is like 1988 or 89. And I just fell in love with it right away, man. Like I watched, you know, we didn't have cable television. So Saturday night's main event was on NBC. I'd watch that. And then my grandfather would, you know, like I'd be at his house on the weekends. So I would see, you know, NWA on TBS on the weekends. And then my grandfather started recording all the matches for me, the ones that were on cable. So I didn't have cable growing up, you know. So he would record them, and I would go to his house on weekends every weekend and just watch whatever he recorded for me. And I just loved it. And it's, you know, still haven't fell out of love with it. You know, it's been, you know, an abusive relationship, wrestling and I, but I still love it at the end of the day, and I'm sticking with it. So, yeah.
Yeah. So you did you used to collect the LGN figures?
You know, I was real big on the LGNs. I had a few of those. I was real big on the Hasbros when they came out. I mean, I had like all of them. I still have them in my parents' house, and you know, some of them are worth a lot of money. I'm not going to sell them, but yeah, I mean, I had the ones that were hard to get, the 1, 2, 3 kit, the Smoking Guns, because those are very, very hard to get. The Andre the Giant one I have, the Yokozuna, like real hard ones to get. my favorite figure. So the Ultimate Warrior, back to him in my car. I have the Ultimate Warrior Hasbro just hanging in my car. So the Ultimate Warrior was he's still to be the coolest looking wrestler of all time. The face paint, the hair, the muscles, the head thing, the wraps on his arms and his legs. Oh man, the coolest looking wrestler ever.
Yeah, I don't have an LGN of the Ultimate Warrior, but I got the articulate ones. Yeah, I got a big bag of LGNs right over here.
Do you have my action figures?
I haven't gotten any recent ones in a long time. Because like I said, financially, it's hard for me right now because I'm the only one in this apartment and my cat will not pay rent.
My 5 cats won't pay the mortgage, so I get it.
But I noticed that they've done some custom LGNs online and I caught wind of this and I ordered one. It was a little pricey, but I did get this one because it was well worth it. Look at that from Random Treasures.
Wow, that's cool.
Mr. Perfect.
That's man, he looks more jacked there than ever, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig.
He would say this is the perfect LGN. The perfect LGN. Yeah, so I got a big bag of these and so many memories in here, and speaking about Bat Jack.
Wow.
I remember Princess Victoria asking me if I had George Clooney in here.
George Clooney.
She said, "Do you have George Clooney in there?" And I said, "No, I got the next best thing." And I showed this to her.
Iron Cheek.
It's just
I have that one.
You have that one? Oh yeah. So I got a bunch of them in here. I've got
Iron Cheek, Nikolai. So Nikolai Volkov used to live about 20 minutes from me, and before I made WWE, him and I would drive to a lot of indie shows together. And then when I made it WWE, he was so happy for me. He called me, "Oh man, I'm happy for you. Save your money. Vince, Vince is a good guy. I'm glad you're working for him." Like Nikolai was great. He passed away in 2018. I went to his funeral, and man, I love that guy. But yeah, I have that. I'll do the Nikolai one, and that's one of my favorite figures because he was my buddy.
Did he get the Iron Sheik to put you in the camel clutch and make you humble?
No, but the one time he introduced me to the Iron Sheik, yeah, Iron Sheik said, "There's this kid Jabroni," and Nikolai says, "No, he's my friend." And the Sheik said, "Any friend of Nikolai is a friend of mine." And I was like, these guys are great. These guys are great.
Of course, I got a Piper, not with a kilt though. These it's hard to get them with their accessories.
Well,
I got 3 Terry Funks in here, and none of them with the branding iron or anything like that.
Yeah, I have the Piper too. Yeah, Piper was awesome.
Yeah, I got a Jake.
You don't make wrestlers like they used to, man.
No,
really don't.
I would have liked to have seen James Ellsworth against this guy back in the day. Could you imagine that?
Who is it? I can't see.
It's George the Animal Steel.
Oh, they has no hair on him.
Yes, he does. Yeah, he does. It's just not shaded in. But
me versus George the Animal Steel would have been hilarious.
It would have been like when he faced Danny Davis back in the day. But yeah, I got a bunch of these. I got again, one of my personal favorites.
Ricky Steamboat. Is that Steamboat?
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Yeah. I'm trying to find Randy Savage in here, but I think he's buried under a bunch, but the greatest champion.
Bruno Sammartino.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I love Bruno. Bruno to me was always the champion, even more so than Hulk Hogan. There's Randy. I found Randy.
The man, one of the goats.
Yeah. Yeah. And recently, though, I did get this. They started putting AEW ones out, and they had a special LGN of Cody Rhodes, and I was like, I had to order this. So
Wow.
yeah,
I enjoy Cody.
yeah, the son of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. So when are we going to get an LGN James Ellsworth figure?
I don't know. You gotta ask your buddies and put in a word for me.
those were fun, you know. Those were fun. And like I said, I got 3 Terry Funks. One of them in good shape. The other ones look like a dog got hold of them.
Oh,
And I'm sitting here thinking, well, with Terry Funk, that could be it'd be like he went through a match anyway. Yeah, but nonetheless, you get to do many of the wrestle cons and stuff, and my second part of that question would be, what's the strangest thing you've ever been asked to sign?
Oh man. So one time someone asked me to sign their teeth. I was like, how am I supposed to do that? They have big white teeth. And I was like, I don't think this is healthy. I was like, they said just put a J and an E for James Ellsworth. I'm like, all right, I'm trying to sign it. that was pretty weird. You know, you know, every now and then you get the rare, hey, can you sign my butt cheek? And I won't do that. But you know, but mostly it's people that want their action figures or the WWE book signed or their 8x10s. It's mostly just easy stuff. And like I said, fans for the most part are very respectful and very nice in person, especially. The internet you forget about, but in person fans are very cool. And I love and enjoy doing the wrestle cons and the wrestlecades and the icons of pro wrestlings and the big events and the Baltimore Celeb Fests and any Comic-Con I've gotten to do. I've done so much in the past 3 years of all this stuff. Now I kind of pick and choose which ones I do. I don't want to go to them all anymore because I've been to so many of them. I don't want to I can't, you know, you start to realize that everyone's met you. So it's like you got to kind of get, you know, taking a step back. But I'm doing WrestleCade in November in the Carolinas, and they're so amazing, man. They do such a good job. Tracy Bryan and those guys. So that's the next big one I'm doing. And then after that, I'm gonna, you know, kind of just do I run my own independent wrestling shows and I wrestle on other independent wrestling shows. And, you know, that's kind of just what I do. And I enjoy performing. I still like to get in the ring. I've been in front of 7 people and 75,000 people. And it doesn't matter how many people are in the audience. I want to make those people make noise and feel invested into the performance they're watching. And that's what I like to continue to do. And I feel like I'm going to do it on an independent level for at least 5 more years before I go, all right, I'm 42 now. I'll be 42 in 5 years. And, you know, need to maybe start being more of a managerial role like I was with Carmella, which was a lot of fun. And I thought I really found myself in that, doing that with Carmella. I could be a mouthpiece and be a little hater and be a little just annoyance for anyone. And hopefully in the future, I'll get to do that on television again.
You think Carmella would have done the Doubtfire face challenge?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
He's a terrific person, man.
What do you mean 42? You're going to hang it up?
I'm on an independent level. I think I'm going to take a lot, you know, just be done wrestling on an independent. I don't want to be one of those old wrestlers like wrestling in their 50s and 60s on the indies. And it's most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, it just looks embarrassing. You know what I mean? Or bad.
Like you're just thinking, I'm 49. You're saying I'm old?
No. But let me tell you, when you wrestle and you want to do it the best of your ability, wrestling hurts. It hurts really bad. So I don't want to be 55. Here's the thing. I don't want to be 55 and not doing what I need to do to put on the best performance I can. I'm not gonna be able to do that. Like, I'd rather be 42, still kind of in my prime. 42 is not old, like, but just for me, that'd be 25 years. I mean, if I'm 42 and WWE calls and they want me to wrestle, I'll wrestle. I'm just saying on the independents, kind of like you wrap it up. I run my own wrestling shows. I do very well with that. So I could, in 5 years, I could focus more on running my own wrestling shows and, go in more of that role where you're writing shows and creating, moments for the people that are, like I said, if it's 7 people or 75,000, create those moments for people to enjoy themselves and be entertained and have a good time. That's, and like I said, I'll still be like Matt. I want to be like a Jimmy Hart, a Jim Cornette, a Bobby the Brain Heenan, especially like Bobby Heenan, who's the greatest of all time.
Oh yes. Oh my goodness.
He could talk. He could also wrestle. That, and like when you're a manager, if there's a certain point where the heat is so hot on you and you need to be put in a tag match or something, I can always do that. You know what I mean? Like, so it's that's where I'm kind of seeing that Carmella thing was a big eye opener for me, because I felt like I did so well in that role, like just helping her get the heat she needed. And just like you could feel things from the crowd every night we went out there. I was like, man, we're doing a good job, because the crowd's reacting every night. And I'm like, man, I could do this the rest of my life. I could be a manager, or a heater, as we call them in the business. And, I could always be good at this. Like, I really feel that way. I really feel like if you put me out there right now with anyone, that someone that needs it, someone that needs that extra sauce on their steak to make it better, I could be that sauce. I think I could always do that,
Yeah. No, I think the women's division now is better than it ever been. I remember back in the day, I loved Wendy Richter, and Wendy wrestled in steel cage matches, she could do it. And today I gotta say, and I hate hearing people rag on Charlotte Flair, but I'm gonna tell you, she was in a match at Wrestlemania back a couple years back against Zaka and Asuka, sorry. Where they're both on the top turnbuckle, and she did this flip that sent both of them back down to the mat. And I was like, I never seen Ric Flair do that. So I love the fact that she's taken portions of what her dad was great at and still making it her own. I love what Charlotte Flair brings, and
it goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning of this podcast. She's so good and she's so popular that she gets ragged on a lot, because everybody knows who she is and she's great. She's a Tom Brady. So everybody's going to rag on her. That's just like more popular to get, the more crap gets talked against you. So she's amazing. She's awesome.
I love Charlotte Flair. I got such tremendous respect for Charlotte, So that got my attention. But anyway, you were trained by Axel Rotten. Talk about that.
Man, I miss him, man. Unfortunately we lost him. Man, it was months before I got signed to WWE, so he never got to see my WWE run. And I always tell people that hurts me, because he was not only my wrestling trainer who trained me the right way, beat my butt and showed me how to throw a punch correctly while doing it. He was an amazing person. Everybody remembers him from being like a hardcore legend, but he really had a great mind for wrestling. I would have never made it WWE without his knowledge and his mentorship. And it's just a shame he's still not around, because he had his demons and he had his addictions. But yeah, I love the guy. He was one of my best friends, and I miss him every day. And hopefully I made him proud, and he's looking down going, good job. But he was a great trainer, great mentor, great friend. People have demons, and it's no excuse, but they do, and it's hard to get out of. And he just unfortunately lost his battle to those demons, and I miss him every day, like I said.
Yeah. Well, you got that training. and he was a legend. Is there any legends that you met that just blew your mind that you met them?
Vince McMahon. Like that. I've been wrestling for 20 years now, and like, the dream was to get to WWE and work for Vince McMahon. And I remember being around him. He's the one guy in the back of my mind. I'm going, wow, like, this is Vince McMahon. Like, I'm working for him. He's paying me. I'm here. And this is my boss. And it just, it always blew my mind to be around him or talk to him, and like, if I saw him again tomorrow, which you never know, I might, I would still feel that way, like, because he's the only one in the history of the world that has made billions with a B of dollars off of pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
The only one in the history of the world. And I don't think anyone will ever do it again. And that's not a knock on anyone. I just don't think wrestling is popular as it once was. But he made it that way. And he just blew my mind anytime I was around him.
I don't know. I'd probably prefer to meet Stephanie than Vince.
Lovely lady. But I'm not kissing butt, but she's probably like easily one of the nicest people I've ever been around. Just a sweetheart of a person.
I think she is totally hot. Who was the hottest female there? Come on, I'm putting you on the spot.
I'm gonna stay in character and say Carmella.
You know what? I went to a wrestling event here and back about 10 years ago, and it was here in Fredericton, and I was in the aisle seat, so I was able to touch wrestlers when they come by. I remember I touched CM Punk when he went by, and Kofi Kingston. But I'll tell you, and Batista. But I'll tell you, the one that really got my attention was Kelly. Kelly went by, and she was tagging everybody's hand. She went like this on my arm, and I think she did it with everybody, but went like this down the person's arm, and I got goosebumps.
Lovely lady. Yeah.
Yep. And way back in the day, I actually saw Owen Hart wrestle. He lost to Bastion Booger of all people, but he was quite the entertainer. But I saw Bret Hart, and after the match, everybody was coming out to the back of the arena, and fans were there waiting and looking, and Bret Hart comes out there and all of his handlers and whatnot, and I just kind of reached out and tapped him on the shoulder. It's like touching a rock.
Yeah, a lot of them are in great shape. I mean, not that I'm not. I'm in pretty good shape myself, but
you have to be. You have to be. What? How was it? I know you were building a lot of comedic situations, in wrestling, and what led I got a kick out of watching you in the ring with the women,
Mm-hmm.
I love strong women. I get a kick out of any time, like whether it's watching Beth Phoenix beat up Santino Marella or whatever have you. I always get a kick out of that. I was never a guy that saw women as weak, because like I said, Wendy was great, but look at Beth Phoenix. Beth was awesome. They put her in one of the Royal Rumbles. I can kind of see that. But I saw you in some of these matches with some of the females. I sat here and watched, so I just get a kick out of it. And there are some people, and I know Steve Austin has said this, I believe, that he cut off doing a match with Mark Merrill because he got power bombed through a table by Sable, but I'm like, God bless Mark Miro for even considering doing that.
Well, it's just my opinion. It's entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
No one's really beating each other up. I mean, it hurts, but it's entertaining. To me, Sable power bombing Mark Merrill through a table is very entertaining. But to Steve's point, Steve's the top guy at the time, and this is the 90s. A lot different, way of thinking back then. So he wasn't wrong back then for like, okay, well, he's getting beat up by Sable. Like, I'm the top guy, I'm the champ. Like, why would I you know, and it's a business. So back then he wasn't wrong. Now you can definitely, you know, people are a little more open-minded and you can do those things. But back then, different ball game. I understand where he was coming from from a, you know, in 1998 perspective and, you know, mind the way people thought.
Well, I know you're famous for being in the ring with AJ Styles, who I think is a tremendous talent. And then you were in these matches with the ladies. Now, talk about the difference in contrast about being in the ring with the males and being in the ring with the females. Is how does one approach that in terms of the difference?
I mean, for me, I approached it the same because my character, like I said, I was blessed with the character I got to portray because he could get away with anything. He could, meaning he could beat the world champion, but then lose to Becky Lynch or Asuka. You know, like, and like AJ Styles is the greatest wrestler in the world, bell to bell. So my character got to pin him, you know what I mean? And then my character got to tap out to Becky Lynch. And to me, it was just, it didn't matter if it was a guy or a girl. I just wanted to entertain the audience. I didn't think of it any differently because, like I said, my character can beat anybody or get beat by anyone. Doesn't matter if it's man or woman. Like I was just that character that you could do those things with. And so, yeah, I didn't really approach it any differently. I had a great time doing all. I remember the crowd in Manchester, in London, was so loud for Becky Lynch and I. Like, the match was good. If you go back and watch that match, it's a good match. And I did a little more wrestling in that match than I probably should have, but I wanted to showcase my skills a little bit. Like, you know, and then, you know, we did spots, and I'm going to go back and watch that. I haven't watched it in probably a year. And, yeah, so I had a lot of fun with it. But to answer your question, yeah, I didn't think of it any differently, wrestling a man or a woman, because I knew my character could get away with it either way.
Yeah, I got entertained by those, and loved. I love watching you play kind of the, I shouldn't say cowardly character. I'm trying to think of the word, because I don't know what word I'm looking for, but you were the heel, and loved watching you those situations, and all the ladies were throwing you back in the ring.
A lot of fun, man. A lot of good memories, and hopefully in the future I'll get to create more. One thing about WWE is, like, look at MVP or Shelton Benjamin or John Morrison. These guys were gone for a decade and came back. I mean, I've been gone 3 years now. I mean, who's to say I don't come back in 7 years? Who's to say I don't come back in 3 years? We don't know. Like, I think at some point I'll be back to create more memories, whether it be on a full-time role, a part-time role, or just a, you know, one-off situations like the Boogeyman or Hornswoggle, where every now and then you see them come back and do something. But I was blessed to be there. I enjoyed my time, and you know, it's a dream come true all around for sure.
Well, you get to wrestle AJ Styles, and you've had your bouts with Braun Strowman. Who would you say was your greatest opponent in terms of your quality of match?
AJ Styles, man, like, he's the best wrestler in the world. Like, and I'm not being a homer. We had a ladder match in Canada actually, for my contract, for my SmackDown contract.
Yep.
And that match, God, that was such a good match. Easy, simple, but the storytelling and the selling and the everything that went on, man, it was amazing. I think he's the best in the world. I really do.
What's the most unique match you've ever been in?
Well, on the independents, I've been in a lot of crazy situations. I remember I did a hog pin match against a guy playing a vampire character, where you got to get thrown in the pig mud or whatever so I'm wrestling a vampire and I'm getting thrown in pig mud. I don't think it gets much more different than that. So I've been loser word stress matches. I've been stuff like that, but that hog pit match sticks out in my head. I'm like, I remember he threw me, and then they sprayed me with a hose afterwards. It was fun.
One of the matches I got tickled by, I saw Scott Hall and Sean Waltman do this, but the one that stood out to me was when, and I don't remember who the male opponent was, but was Luna Vachon and some guy in the independents. And Luna Vachon won, and the loser got put in a diaper, and I got a kick out of the. Well, I guess they call them crybaby matches. I got a kick out
Yeah,
of that.
Not Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon and 1-2-3 Kid did that on In Your House. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and those are good
Yeah.
matches to be a part of.
Luna Vachon beat somebody on the independents, and God rest her soul, but she won one of those, and I was like, has that would have been the kind of match I would have put you in with one of those, one of the divas, because that'd be the perfect spot for the diva to win, or the female wrestler to win.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I could have did all that, but like I said, maybe in the future we'll see.
Yeah, but nonetheless, no, I enjoy those kind of matches, and what do you think of your memorabilia? You got a lot of it around the house. You got 2 daughters. What do they think of all this?
Oh man, so the oldest understands it a lot more. Like, she goes to school, show her friends, oh, here's my daddy's action figure, and then they have the shirt, the WWE shirt with my face on it. In my room, my fiance and I's bedroom, we have my action figures on the wall, plaques that WWE sent me, all that cool stuff, man. Sometimes you got to look at it and go, wow, all the hard work did pay off. I was very blessed. And anytime you're having a bad day, you got to look at stuff like that. You know what? I'm having a bad day right now, but I've had a good life. So that's what those things are there to remind you of for me.
Your daughters go get into wrestling, or are you steering them clear?
I hope not. But I will support anything they ever want to do in life that's they're interested in. And so right now they casually watch it on TV and will ask me questions. They love watching the girls. So, but I hope they don't get into it, honestly. But if they did, I would support them. Like I said, I'll support anything they want to do.
Now, I hear a lot of stuff talking to people. When you do a match, is it true that the heel dictates what goes on inside the, do they lead the match, or how does that go?
Well, they're supposed to. That's the old way of thinking. But it really is a team effort when you're in a match, you and your opponent, of putting together a good performance. I mean, when the heel takes control in the match and leads the way most of it, yeah, there's some truth to that, but it's a team effort for sure.
Because I know I hear the story, but when Bret Hart wrestled the British Bulldog, I guess I forget the full story, so don't quote me, but I think he was a bit out of it, and Bret Hart pretty much carried the match. Yeah, and was able to make the match as great as it was. Did you ever have situations where you had to think on the spot where you were in the
all the time?
Okay.
Yeah, that happens all the time, especially when you're in front of an audience. You don't know how they're going to react, and if you're doing something or you have something planned and it's not going to work, and you think on your feet, you know what, they're not buying this, so I'm not giving it to them anymore. I gotta give them what they want. And that's the way I always think in any match.
I think they should have had you wrestle in a Wrestlemania. I know you've been to them, but they should have put you in a match.
Yeah, it almost happened, but there's, like I said, I'm only 37 right now, so there's hopefully gonna be more opportunities. We'll see.
Yeah. Who's your dream opponent?
Well, all time would be Shawn Michaels. He's my favorite ever. But dream opponent that's still wrestling right now, it's a tough one. I always think, what would the fans want to see? I think the fans, if I came back right now, would want to see me mess around with the 24/7 title, because that's where my character would fit in. But also, man, to me, I'm a big fan of Roman Reigns. I think his stuff is awesome. James Ellsworth Roman Reigns match would be hilarious. I think he'd probably beat me in a minute, but I mean, just for us to be in the ring together would be hilarious.
You know what? I want to see more matches where you fight with the females.
Me versus Carmella. I think people would like Carmella versus James Ellsworth. People would definitely be invested in that. I think.
You think we'll get that?
You never, dude. The way they think, you never know. You just like you could be sitting around for years, and they finally call it. Like I'm good friends with Gilbert, great friend of mine.
Yeah.
Gilbert told me, I was like, man, it's been 3 years since I've been on TV. I hope they call me for something soon. He's like, man, from 2003 to 2017, that's 14 years. He's like, they didn't call me for nothing. He goes, then 14 years later, he came back and did something. There was a 14-year gap. So you just never know.
Yeah. Well, you know what? People still remember Gilbert, and people still remember you.
Mm-hmm. We
Yeah.
have those characters that you'll never forget. They were just easy. Easy to remember. It's not how long we were there. It's what we did when we were there that people remember. And I tell everybody that there's going to be guys that are there for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're done, nobody's going to remember them. I was there 2016, 17, and 18. Those 3 calendar years. I appeared on their television. And I was blessed to be put in positions where, I stole the first ever women's Money in the Bank.
You're proud of that.
Yeah, I really am. And people are gonna remember them forever. Remember that moment forever. And beating AJ Styles 3 times. People are man. Remember that guy, that little guy, that James Ellsworth. Yeah, he beat AJ Styles 3 times. I was blessed to have those memorable moments. I pinned the world champion. It's crazy. But yeah, man. I'm getting hungry. I'm about to get some breakfast. What do you eat for breakfast? Tim Hortons.
You like Tim Hortons?
Dude,
I like Tim Hortons.
Every time I came to Canada, I got the chili from Tim Hortons, and I'm not even big on chili, but for some reason, so quick story before I go. We were in Canada, and Rhino and I were driving together.
Yeah.
And we go through a drive-through at Tim Hortons, and we leave, and he opens the bag and all, and he goes, and he's like, and he's a great guy. He never gets upset. He's like, effer, son of a bitch. I'm like, what? Yeah. They forgot to give us napkins. And he was so bad. He scared me. I was like, dude, I'll go back and get the napkins. And he's like, and he starts cutting a promo on why they didn't give us our napkins. Oh man, I love that guy so much. He tripped me out with that. He really did. So
well, you have him for breakfast. You're going. What you have him for breakfast?
I'm going to get. It's going to be the simplest thing ever: a piece of toast and some butter, a bowl of Captain Crunch, and a banana. That's what I'm going to go get.
There you go. I think I might have mini wheats.
There you go, man.
Or I might have Honey Nut Cheerios with yogurt on top.
Oh, Honey Nut Cheerios is great. So, but yeah, I don't eat until 11 a.m. every morning, and then I stop eating at 7 p.m. I fast for 16 hours so I don't get big. Because dude, I eat like crap. I love hamburgers, hot dogs, donuts, pizza, anything bad for you. Chicken wings. I love chicken wings. So I have to fast 16 hours a day so I just don't blow up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to make yourself as in shape as Carmella.
Yeah. No one's in that good of shape. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Again, thank you for doing the Doubtfire face challenge.
Again, no problem, man.
Yeah,
it's an important thing. That's suicide awareness. Obviously, we just lost Daphne this year, and I got to know Daphne over the past few years, and she was a sweetheart, but she had those demons and unfortunately lost her battle. And we got to be aware that people do these things, and we got to do whatever we can to try to prevent them from doing these things. So I understand it, and I was more than happy to do it. And keep doing your thing, man. Keep trying to get people to do that, and keep doing your podcast, and just keep having a positive vibe.
Any other wrestlers I should pitch that to?
Gilbert's on Cameos at $20. He'll do it. He'll do it.
Yeah,
he'll do a funny one, dude. I nominate him right now. Gilbert. Say James Ellsworth said, "Get a pie, throw it in your face for suicide awareness."
Yeah. And what about the divas? Which ones they're the safest ones to go after?
I'm just trying to think who's on Cameo. I mean, you could try Kelly Kelly. You brought her up.
Okay. Which ones, if they were all on Cameo, which ones would you go after?
The one, well, Carmella, Alexa Bliss. You already said you tried. Sasha Banks, Paige. So I don't know if Paige is on there. She might be. She might. If she is, she's got to be expensive. People love her.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think who else would be good for it. Nikki Cross would probably be outstanding for it. She's such a great person. But yeah, so those ones.
Okay. Yeah, Alexa Bliss talked a lot about suicide and depression. That was why I went after her. That just stood out because I would never know. But I was like, Alexa Bliss. And this was before she became what she is now. This was when she was Alexa Bliss, not with the doll and whatnot. And I was like,
Yeah, I think that they might be done with that now, though. So
yeah, but I would have loved to have gotten her to do it, So, oh well. She couldn't get a pie, but at least it didn't cost me on Cameo, But anyway, maybe sometime in the future, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, Gilbert, there's an idea. And you mentioned Mojo Rawley.
he's hilarious. Yeah, he's a funny
Okay.
guy. He'll the guys that'll make it entertaining for you. So
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Thank you so much for allowing me this honor today. Scotty McCoy is right. You're a great guy.
I appreciate it. Tell Scotty, thank you. And I appreciate you guys a lot.
Before I let you go, would you mind doing a plug for my show?
Sure. What do you want me to say?
Just state your name. Say you're listening to Greg Gilbert out of Fredericton, New Brunswick. Or actually, no, say listen to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise. That makes sense.
Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
Yeah.
All right. It's your boy James Ellsworth, the man to beat AJ Styles, not once, not twice, but 3 times, and the real winner of the first ever Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. And you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
And folks, remember, sometime in the future, Carmella is going to beat James Ellsworth in a crybaby match.
I have to wear it like sounds entertaining to me. All right, man. Take care. God bless and stay safe. Okay.
You take care. Thank you so much. I appreciate this so much. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Take care. Stay safe.
God bless.